Welcome, everyone. This is Steve Coleman. I am at Manhattan Strategy Group, and on behalf of Links, we would like to welcome you to a webinar. The title of the webinar is From Policy to Practice, Designing Career Pathways for ABE ESL Learners. One thing I want to remind you of is at the end we will have a link to a survey. So we would really appreciate it if you take that survey. It gives us feedback to feedback on the webinar for future use. Okay, now I'm going to turn it over to Mike Cruz, who will do the introduction to the webinar. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on designing career pathways for adult basic education and English as a second language learners. Again, my name is Mike Cruz, and I'm the moderator for Link's Career Pathways Community of Practice. And I'm joined today by David Rosen, who's the Program Manager Moderator. We're fortunate, to have a team of esteemed presenters joining us today to discuss this topic at the federal, state, and local levels. And to begin, we have Judith Allen with ABE Associates, Lauren Walliser with the Center for Law and Social Policy, Derek Kalchbrenner with the Massachusetts Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, and Pat Thomas and partners from the Marshall Southwest Adult Education Learning Center in Minnesota. So we're delighted to have these individuals join us. These leaders will be spending the next 60 minutes with us to talk about these issues and to also guide us in our conversation over the next several days in the Links Community of Practice, which we invite you to join us as well. The webinar will be recorded, and we will also have slides available at the conclusion of today's presentation. So if anyone would like a copy of those, we'll be able to send those to you. But our objectives for today will be to present a vision of career pathways for pre-college adult learners and individuals with lower English language learning levels. We'll also review federal requirements under WIOA Title II and the Measurable Skill Gain Indicator, and present examples of integrated education and training and integrated English literacy and civics education programs, as well as finally explore how one rural community collaborates to use community-based assessments that meet local and regional employment needs. So we ask you to use the chat box to ask any questions during the presentations, and hopefully we'll have some time at the end to answer these questions. However, again, if we don't, we encourage you to join us in the Links community to look for, ask those questions and look for answers to those questions if we aren't able to address them today. So without further delay, I'm going to go ahead and hand the presentation over to our first presenter, Judith Allen. Judith?
Thanks, Mike. Good afternoon, everyone. My presentation this afternoon will address career pathways from the perspective of a local career pathway system, and will provide a framework for understanding the key services that constitute a local career pathway system. Highlighted in the presentation are strategies for assessing the level of current career pathway services in a local ABE program, ideas to consider in developing strong partnerships to support career pathways, and the conditions that state and local staff should think about in developing career pathways for lower skilled adults. The graphic that you see depicts the key elements or types of activities that comprise a career pathway system as identified by the U.S. Departments of Education, Labor and Health and Human Services. As shown on the graphic, cross-agency partnerships are fundamental to the key activities of a career pathway system at either the state or local levels. These activities are working with industry associations and employers to identify growing sectors and labor markets, designing and delivering education and training programs, securing funding and other resources to support career pathway services, developing and aligning state or local policies to support career pathways, and collecting and analyzing data to measure clients' performance and to monitor services. Another key element that has been identified in research on career pathways is the critical role of public relations and ongoing communication with stakeholders. That is important in terms of talking about career pathways, purposes, activities, benefits, and outcomes. So what is a local career pathways system? ABE program staff have found it useful to have a vision or a model of a system in order to help them develop career pathways services. As you can see on the screen, this model, which is based on the definition of career pathways in the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, can be used to guide the development of career pathways in all ABE delivery systems, local education agencies, community colleges, community-based organizations, correctional institutions, and other types of organizations delivering ABE. The model lists the range of potential partners as described in WIOA, the diverse client populations that can be served, the types of data and information that are to be addressed at service intake, and the importance of conducting some form of career and college awareness early in the program to help clients set goals and to motivate them to participate in the services that can help them transition to further education, training, or employment. The services that are provided to clients are varied depending on the population of clients being served, and these services can lead either to secondary credential or to post-secondary participation. The attainment of education credentials is expected then to lead to an initial and then subsequent jobs in a career pathway. This model can be customized to a program's career pathways activities and can be used in public relations and communications activities. So in planning career pathways, the first step is to assess the extent to which an ABE program is implementing activities related to career pathways. One can start by reviewing national reporting system data to understand the background characteristics and entry skill levels of clients who are typically served in a program, and to assess whether more targeted recruitment may be needed to reach potential clients who can benefit from career pathway services. A tool that we adapted under Octave's Moving Pathways Forward project is the ABE Career Pathways Survey. This survey can be used by state or local staff to identify the areas of current career pathways being implemented and to develop a plan to address gaps in implementation. So the survey is organized according to the key elements of a career pathway system that we just discussed, the 6 areas on the chart, and then the additional area of conduct public relations and ongoing communications. Each element has a series of items of activities that relate to the element. So this is a screenshot from the survey, and for example, for the key element of provide education and training services, there is a list of activities, including the 3 that are on the slide. The program staff are to rate the program's progress in completing each activity in terms of whether the activity is underway, being planned, or has not been addressed yet. For the activities that are underway, program staff are asked to provide a brief description of the types of activities being conducted for each element. The survey can provide local program staff with benchmarks for career pathway services and a process for monitoring their progress in carrying out key services. At the state level, state can administer the survey to all ABE providers and develop a state portrait of career pathways implementation, identifying the programs in need of technical assistance and identifying potential promising practices in career pathways that can be further tested. The information for accessing the survey is presented at the end of this presentation. Critical to implementing career pathways are strong partnerships between and within agencies and organizations. Most career pathway services require that ABE providers connect to other organizations and departments within their organization to provide the range of services that are required by a career pathways system. It is an important process is developing effective partnerships to establish really trust and a sense that each partner is being rewarded for their participation in the partnership. Explicit benefits to each partner, the more explicit they are, the better the partners will feel motivated to participate. Strong partnerships, in turn, can help ABE leverage the expertise and the resources they need to carry out all the range of services they need for ABE career pathways. My last point concerns strategies for developing career pathways for lower skilled adults, and there are two levels to think about. At the local level, ABE leaders and staff can identify training programs that do not require a secondary credential, so that clients who are working toward a secondary credential can begin or enter these training programs. The ABE staff can also consider providing a pre-bridge or a bridge program to facilitate lower-level learners' participation in training, or they can negotiate dual enrollment so that learners can simultaneously work on secondary credentialing while they are participating in some type of further post-secondary training or training courses. At the state level, state leaders have an opportunity to really play an important role in reaching out to various types of organizations and associations to look at opportunities for pilot testing, models that would be advantageous for lower level clients, and working with the higher education partners to facilitate local opportunities. The state's role is very helpful in facilitating what local ABE programs are expected to do in implementing career pathways. I have two resources listed that we produced under the Moving Pathways Forward project that may be of help to states and local programs, and the provider survey is in the Career Pathways Planner there. So I want to thank you for your time today, and our next presenter is Lauren Walser from the Center for Law and Social Policy.
Thank you, Judy. Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I am Lauren Walser, as she mentioned. I'm responsible for CLASP's federal policy work in post-secondary education and training, and from time to time that has my work crossing over into adult education and workforce training issues like those that we're talking about today. I will be speaking about state and local responsibilities to design and implement career pathways, talk about what does that phrase career pathways mean, what does it look like in practice, and then I'll touch on the outcome measures that adult educators need to know under WIOA. So the responsibilities of state leaderships under WIOA is the requirement to align with core partners to carry out the state's WIOA strategic plan, and that includes career pathways. Career pathways are explicitly highlighted in the language, and as you can see highlighted on the slide, as an activity that states must undertake to get those who can be served by adult education and literacy programs into the employment and training they need to be successful in the workforce. So this is why you may have come across career pathways in your state plans or in other spaces in the WIOA context. State leadership must be thinking about these issues. So what about the local level? The local boards are mandated, you can see on the screen the word shall, that means they're mandated to take the lead and work with secondary and post-secondary educators to design and implement career pathways. They're also required to convene local partners on the board, and there's a mandate for the local Title II person to be included on that board. So it's important for that person, if you are that person or you know who that person is, it's important for them to be an advocate for adult education programs generally, but also specifically as career pathways are being developed, to share your voice about the programs that you know will be supportive of your population. So what does career pathways mean? It's a term that we've heard used in many different ways. Some people use it to mean one thing or another. It is defined in federal law in both WIOA and the Higher Education Act. This is the definition that Education and Workforce Development operates under, and it's the one that I mean when I've been talking about career pathways for the last few minutes. The federal definition is very comprehensive, and it's aspirational in the sense that it's trying to push state and local areas all these different stakeholders into alignment across adult education, post-secondary education, career services, human services, apprenticeship, all getting them to work together to provide this high-quality education and training. So career pathways is a 7-part definition. These are the first 3 parts. It must align with the skill needs of industries, and align does not mean it's a hot job. You know, if your local area needs RNs, you can't develop a career pathway that starts with registered nurse, especially if you have a population with a lot of barriers or, you know, individuals who don't speak English. Then you need to have accessible credentials at a lower level where individuals can enter and then work up to an RN. Second, it must prepare an individual for both secondary and post-secondary. So secondary can mean career and technical education or high school equivalency or a number of things. And secondary also has many meanings. It can mean, you know, college, quote unquote, you know, higher education. It can mean apprenticeship. It can mean industry recognized credentials or many other things. And it also must provide education and career planning. So the next 2 parts of the definition are really the heart of what makes career pathways so innovative. Letter D says that education must be offered concurrently and contextually with the workforce preparation activities and training. So this is the WIOA integrated education and training model, adult literacy and workforce prep and workforce training all running together, balanced, and all working toward the same set of outcomes. So an example of this model that you probably know is Washington's IBEST model, but there are many other forms that IET models can take, and I'll talk about IET again in a second. And then it also must organize these activities for acceleration. And this is a point of misunderstanding that we've heard before. The intention of this is that the student completes the pathway, completes these 3 things, the education, the training, and the workforce prep in a shorter time when they complete them together than if they were to do them separately. And the last 2 are really the student has to be able to get both a secondary diploma and a post-secondary credential that must be offered as part of the pathway. And then also is targeting both people who are entering an occupation or advancing within it. So you can be serving people like out-of-school youth who are not involved in any occupation at all currently, or you can be working with upskilling people in the contingent workforce or incumbent worker training, getting them to advance within an occupation that they already are employed. So this is sort of when I talked about IET, this is the 3 components and how they all feed in together in a balanced way into the idea of integrated education and training. So I would just want to go through again, the adult education and literacy stream is about building essential foundational skills in reading, math, English language, all those different types of foundational skills. It also provides soft skills needed for employment like digital skills, self-management skills, and teamwork through the workforce preparation stream. And then it finally delivers occupational training with value in the labor market like incumbent worker training or transitional jobs through that workforce training stream. And they are all offered together at the same time. And so the citations on the slides are, if you refer to them, you can see the full list of activities that are included under those definitions. I encourage you to look them up because they're very comprehensive and there are many more than what I have listed today. So what does a career pathway look like that would serve individuals with limited English currently? This one is from the International Institute of Minnesota, works with low literate Somali refugees. They also had limited educational background when they came to Minnesota. They start out at the entry level. If you see the entry level column, they receive hotel housekeeping training. That's a 6-week, 100-hour course that provides them with beginning ESL, teaching them housekeeping skills and soft skills and customer service skills, and that enables them to get a job as a housekeeper at $10.20 an hour. And then they also provide, at the same time, very critically, provide supportive services to these students, like learning how to operate on public transportation, learning how to enroll their children in school, learning how to furnish their apartment, giving them, you know, furnishings for their apartment. So really important things to get them settled in the community. So then if the students choose to continue to advance in the career pathway, they then can receive supervisor training. And this is also a 6-week training that gives them more ESL, more specific, industry-specific English skills, learning how to give feedback and supervise employees, and that lets them get a job as an inspector or a supervisor that pays $12 to $15 an hour. And then if they continue up to college level, they can enroll in a 3-week class that's a bridge class that provides them college navigation services and reading and writing and math skills that they'll need to succeed in college. And then to continue all the way to their certificate, they have to complete 20 credits at the local community college where they learn college writing and technological fluency and other things to help them become either a supervisor or an assistant executive housekeeper. So the outcomes for their students, you can see coming in, 50% of the students, this was their first job in the United States. A third of students had young children at home, and nearly 20% were homeless or at immediate risk of becoming homeless. And almost all of them were 200% of the poverty line at the time of enrollment. But you can see once they were enrolled, the IET model really worked the way that you would hope it would. The students were able to advance in their careers. There was wage progression, even though the jobs are not high paying. There is wage progression, and 10 graduates were promoted, and 5 graduates are still continuing their educational journey. So about the outcomes measures. So under WIOA, states must report on 6 primary indicators of performance, and they're mainly focused around participant outcomes like earnings after exit and employment after exit. But one of the indicators is measurable skill gain, and this is the one indicator that's not exit-based. It's about measuring a student's progress. So adult educators are probably familiar with educational functioning level gain, ESL gain, that orange square in the middle. But be aware that this is not a term that exists in WIOA. That's just like an FYI. Many think that ESL can only be measured via pre and post test, but there are also 2 other ways that it can be measured, through either the completion of Carnegie units or a student's exit from a program and entry into post-secondary education, which can include developmental education. But I wanted to mention the other ways that measurable skill gain can be indicated other than ESL gain. So that's through secondary diploma or equivalent, through secondary or post-secondary transcript. So that at the secondary level, that's the transcript for 1 semester. And at the post-secondary level, it's at least 12 hours per semester for a full-time student, or 12 hours over 2 completed semesters for post-secondary students. The progress toward milestones really means adult education, working with an employer to determine a training program, what it should encompass, setting milestones for the student, and then determining with the employer whether the student is meeting that progress along the way. And then the passage of an exam is a trade-related benchmark about whether the student is attaining their technical or occupational skills. So for instance, it's them completing and passing a CDL exam. So it's important for adult educators to know the NRS does not track the transcript, which is kind of the blue box, or the progress toward milestones, which is the gray box. But WIOA quarterly reporting does require reporting on all of those elements for measurable skill gain. So now I'm going to pass it over to Derek.
Derek, are you on mute?
Sorry about that, everyone. I was on mute. I'm back now. Thank you very much, Lauren. I appreciate that. I'm going to start by explaining what Career Pathways looks like in the department and then how it looks in the state. In the department, we have Career Pathways for both K through 12 and adult students. I'm going to spend my time talking about adult education career pathways, which is, oh great, we've got the slide on the screen, which is the lavender bar on this chart. But if you're interested in the others, you can go to the website and get information on those other 3 tracks. Each of our career pathway tracks must include these 6 components that are on the left side of the screen in some degree. Career advising supports students to complete career plans that identify skills, explores career opportunities, and establishes a path to family self-sustaining employment. Career advising also helps students with obstacles to help complete their plan. Labor market information. All pathways have to be justified with labor market information related to employer demand and career opportunities. Integrated instruction. In this component, students participate in carefully designed sequences of integrated, rigorous instructional courses relevant to their pathway, including both academic and technical subjects. And I'll talk more about that in a few slides. Work-based learning, and in this component, students participate in structured workforce preparation activities and work-based learning experiences. And finally, credential preparation. The pathway must enable students to make progress toward attainment of an industry-recognized credential or college credits toward a certificate, associate's, or bachelor's degree. Now, in Massachusetts, Career Pathways operates on 4 levels: state, region, local, and program. At the state level, our State Workforce Board develops broad strategies that guide and support the use of career pathways in regional workforce development areas. In 2016, Massachusetts submitted its WIOA Combined State Plan to meet the WIOA requirements for state workforce development programs. The state plan reflects the goals and vision for the public workforce system in Massachusetts, which calls for a coordinated cross-system service delivery that treats the job seeker as a shared customer across all state agencies and supports workforce development as established through a statewide memorandum of understanding. Then in our state's 7 local workforce regions, partners align workforce development activities and available resources with larger regional economic development needs to provide coordinated and efficient services to both job seekers and businesses. Then, using the state MOU as a model, the 16 workforce development boards guide the development of MOUs in their areas. Each MOU must articulate the local area's plan for meeting WIOA requirements, including designing, implementing, and managing career pathways. Local workforce development boards also convene workforce partners, including adult education providers, one-stop career centers, vocational rehab, and other stakeholder agencies to coordinate services responsive to the needs of their local economies. These collaborations identify emerging industries and develop the career pathways or routes for the local talent to obtain the skills and credentials necessary to obtain occupations within those industries. And then finally, adult education programs design, implement, and provide the actual career pathway services that lead to employment in those industries. And in a few slides, I'll give you some local examples of adult education career pathways programs. Now I'll talk about the different types of adult education career pathway services we have in the state. In addition to providing the necessary academic instruction and preparation of shared customers and collaborating with local workforce partners on career pathways, adult education programs can offer a range of career pathway services, including workforce preparation and career exploration activities, bridge classes, integrated education and training services, and integrated English literacy and civics education services. So both workforce preparation activities and career exploration activities can be carried out by all adult education providers with all students. These activities can also be integrated into adult education classes or in a series of workshops placed strategically throughout a program of study. These activities can also be done in collaboration with workforce partners such as local workforce development boards, one-stop career centers, or area employers. Of course, the delivery of these activities would need to be differentiated on the levels of the students, with lesson plans for beginning students looking different from advanced students. But we at the State Department, we give our programs the flexibility to deliver these activities based on the needs of their students. Bridge classes are typically offered to advanced ABE and ESL students. These services are provided to students who have completed an adult education program of study at an adult education program, but may still need some additional academic preparation before enrolling in a post-secondary program. So these services can include things like AccuPlacer preparation, advanced writing and math instruction, college navigation instruction, in other words, how to navigate a post-secondary education institution with its myriad departments, policies, and procedures, and other activities to help students transition from adult education to a post-secondary program. We also have transitioned to community college services, which are similar to bridge services, but unlike the bridge services, which in Massachusetts are typically delivered at an adult education program, the transition services are actually delivered at the community college. So these are services for students who are ready for college, but for at least a semester would benefit from some intensive advising and support services. We have transition programs in 10 of our community colleges here in Massachusetts. And the transition students are together as a cohort. The transition program offerings vary from campus to campus, but we do require what we call a College for Success course for all students. And that course is essentially a college navigation class that also includes college reading, writing, and research lessons, all things to equip students with the skills needed to be successful in their college classes. Students also have the opportunity to develop their reading, writing, and math skills in order to place out of or advance them along the sequence of developmental courses that they need to take as measured on the AccuPlacer. Intensive advising and support services are also in place so that the 15 or so students in each program have assistance with navigating all the different college requirements. And so all of the students in these programs get at least one credit-bearing degree course, help with eliminating developmental courses, and advising for one semester, and none of which they have to pay for, as these programs are funded through the department with matching funds from the college. And the idea, of course, is to increase persistence by providing a foundation of courses and advising that will lead more students to finishing their degrees. Now, integrated education and training programs. I think Lauren covered the components of IET, so I won't spend time on those components, but you see them here on the screen. In Massachusetts, programs have the option of applying for IET, to have the option of applying to provide IET services. We are currently running IET pilots that I'll discuss in a few slides. These services are collaborations among local workforce development boards, adult education providers, career vocational technical education programs, post-secondary and training providers, employers, and other local stakeholders. These services integrate adult education concurrently and contextually with workforce preparation and workforce training for occupations in high-demand industries that allow students to attain economic self-sufficiency. IET services must be aligned with local career pathways and include support services such as career counseling, job placement, and retention services. And upon completion, students must have earned at least one or more industry-recognized credentials. In Massachusetts, we strongly encourage our adult education providers to partner with our K through 12 vocational technical education schools. In these partnerships, the adult education programs make use of the school's vocational facilities, the shops, the labs, the clinical areas, after school, in the evening, on Saturdays, as well as drawing on the faculty expertise. And these schools often also have the technical curricula that adult education programs can modify to meet the needs of their students. Here in Massachusetts, we have found K through 12 very open to partnerships with adult education, and we currently have about 10 such partnerships right now. Some of our schools actually actively market the program to the parents of their school's children. The schools see these programs as an opportunity to broaden their mission by offering programs for parents as well as children. Integrated English literacy and civics education. These services enable English language learners to achieve competency in the English language and acquire the skills needed to function effectively as parents, workers, and citizens in the United States. These services must include instruction in literacy and English language acquisition, and instruction on the rights and responsibility of citizenship and civics participation. And under WIOA Section 243, these services must be delivered in combination with an IET program as described earlier. Now I'll talk about our state's IELC IET pilots. In FY 2016, Massachusetts funded 3 such pilots, and in FY 2017, we added 13 more. We have pilots in community-based organizations and public schools, community college, and one based in a correctional facility. The requirements for the pilots included offering adult education and literacy activities concurrently and contextually with workforce preparation activities, and training for occupations in local high-demand industries. Programs had to propose accelerated models, ones in which students would be in education and training classes at the same time. Collaboration with local workforce partners and one-stop career centers to help align the programming, connect to employers, overcome barriers, and connect with employment opportunities were also requirements. Programs also had to partner with one or more employers. And the role of the employers was to support program development and evaluation, and also to provide input into the curriculum and program design to ensure that the training was preparing students for jobs in the industry. And student attainment of one or more industry-recognized credentials was also a requirement. Now I'll highlight 2 of our pilots. There are abstracts of all 16 of our pilots on our website, and there's a link to those abstracts in this presentation, but I'll just talk about 2 of them here. Cambridge Community Learning Center is a community-based organization. The department, we've been funding their home health aide certified nursing assistant program for a little over a year now. The partnership consists of the CLC, the Adult Education Program, the Academy for Healthcare Training, which is the training provider partner, the Ringe School of Technical Arts, which is a high school in Cambridge, and the Cambridge Employment Program, several employers. The CLC, the Community Learning Center, provides the contextualized ESL and math instruction, while the Academy of Career Training provides the HHA and CNA instruction. The Cambridge Community Learning Center coordinates with the ESL and training instructors at the Academy to integrate the curriculum into weekly lessons. The Academy instructors are Department of Public Health and Division of Professional Licensure approved to deliver HHA, CNA instruction. The Ringe School, the Cambridge Ringe School, they provide the training space, so their clinical area, and their faculty also share curricula and other resources. Communication instruction includes things like giving directions, asking for clarification, communication at the workplace, and relating incidents and observations. Students learn medical terminology and basic report writing, things like reports, forms, and charts. Math instruction includes arithmetic, measuring temperature, recording time, metric conversions, and in the training component, students learn basic patient care, bathing, dressing, undressing, safe transfers, vital signs, diet, infection control, respecting patients' rights. Civics education lessons include levels of government and citizenship and other civic participation activities. In addition, a Cambridge, City of Cambridge employment program job developer cultivates existing and develops new relationships with healthcare employers and providers and helps students with employment assistance. And the clinical hours for the program are done at one of the employer partner sites. And there are always new employers being added to this particular partnership, but I've listed 3 of them here on this slide. The next program I'm going to highlight is the Webster Public Schools Advanced Manufacturing Program. In this case, Webster Public Schools Adult Education Center, they provide contextualized HiSET instruction. So this program is for native English speakers who need to earn a high school credential. And they're partnering with with one of our high schools, Bay Path Regional Vocational Technical High School. They provide the space and also the technical training in its manufacturing shops. The collaboration uses a local curriculum. It's the Manufacturing Advancement Center Workforce Innovation Collaborative, or MACWIC curriculum. The link to it is here on this slide. This is the basis for instruction. This is a 5-level competency-based curriculum that is designed to be stackable and includes multiple points of entry and re-entry. The students start off with, in this program, while they're working on their HiSET, what they call Level 1, and Level 1 modules include shop math, blueprint reading, metrology and quality inspection, work readiness, and safety. And so hands-on instruction includes working on both manual and computerized machines located at Bay Path. An adult education teacher and advisor are present during classes to assist the students with academic progress in the program. We have another program in the state, the Worcester Public Schools, that is also offering an advanced manufacturing program for English language learners, and they are also using the MACWIC curriculum. In addition, at this particular program, in addition to the Level 1 certification, these students can also earn up to 11 National Institute for Metalworking NIMS credentials, including materials and safety, job planning, bench work and layout, drill press skills, and several other NIMS credentials that you can read about on our website. So that brings me to the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm pleased to introduce Pat Thomas of the Marshall Southwest Adult Education Learning Center.
Thank you, Derek. In this segment, we'll be sharing a successful career pathway model on our local level from Southwest Minnesota. Throughout this segment, you will hear 4 different voices. We do this with the intent of highlighting the fact that our success has come as a result of real collaboration from multiple partners that's all founded in the WIO legislation. In our model, our workforce center, our adult basic education, the community college, and our public schools join forces under the philosophy of embracing real collaboration. Our collaboration began as a relationship approach and has grown into an organization's systemic collaboration model. Our collaborate focuses on the student success, and our employers assist us in driving our training content.
The Minnesota ABE model focuses on transitions. Our goal is to assist students in transitioning to the next level with integration of basic skills, digital literacy, and professional soft skills. One can find more information on this model at the link given on this slide. Our ACES TIP framework, which was developed by Minnesota ABE, embeds successful life work skills at every level of ABE and ESL instruction. Its use as part of the Minnesota's overall ABE standards, along with CCRF and North Star, drives our content.
Southwest Minnesota is a geographically large rural region in our state. It is twice the geographic size of the state of Massachusetts. Just for a point of reference, we have 4.3 times more livestock than people. For the purposes of this presentation, we will be showcasing our CNA Career Pathway Training. Our CNA training is one example of several we provide that reflect the needs of our regional employers.
This slide shows visually our various partners, both public and private partners, who make our training successful. We work together to maximize our resources to support our students in a very intentional manner.
When we say collaboration, we mean a real form of collaboration where business as usual has taken on a very different look than before we joined forces. Our focus is on the student's success. We meet the students where they are based on their interests, their career focus, their comprehension and digital literacy skills, and then upon successfully completing the training, the students earn transcriptical credits leading to industry certification and their CNA licensure. Our high school students also earn dual credits towards their high school diploma. Typically, the students in our program increase their literacy and secure employment shortly after completion.
A role that is crucial to our success is the Navigator that comes out of the workforce system. The Navigator works directly with the training participants to determine training needs, identify potential resources to address barriers, and assist with employability skills and career pathway achievement. Most recently, our Navigator role has encompassed establishing work experiences and on-the-job training opportunities to benefit both the training participant and local employers. We would encourage other areas developing career pathway trainings to check out these resources at your local one-stop job centers.
Here we have listed the various places we find our students. Probably the most effective marketing tool we have has been word of mouth from past students who have gone through our programs. Our employers, and most recently, the incorporation of social media, have also been effective marketing methods. We recognize that this webinar is focused on the adult learner, but we would like to share how we have successfully partnered with our local high school to provide trainings for adults and youth together. This has contributed to our ability to provide trainings in a rural area in our current job market. We believe this has merit to consider in any location, rural or urban. The commingling of adults and youth together may be a new concept for many to consider, but we find providing the trainings in this manner has created multiple positive outcomes. Cost efficiency, a training incurs the same cost whether it is full to capacity or not. Our role model reflects the actual multi-generational workforce our clients will enter. Both youth and adults state they benefit and appreciate the mix of ages. The youth feel they act more maturely in the presence of adult learners. The adults feel like it is a more academic setting with youth present. Both groups appreciate the perspective that the other brings to the classroom. Adults appreciate the hope the youth bring, and the youth appreciate the maturity and life experience the adults bring. The CNA program has a built-in background check. We have now included that for adults entering the schools for our other training. The mix of generations and motivations of our students create opportunities for our clientele in the trainings to strive higher and further than they may be originally envisioned for themselves. Because we maximize the capacity of each training from our varied clientele, we are able to offer more variety of training with greater cost efficiency. This has proven to be an effective model to break the cycle of poverty in our area.
Another unique aspect of our CNA Career Pathway training is our use of an independent online version of a bridge rather than a seat-based bridge. This format allows us to engage the learner at the point they want to participate in our CNA trainings. It also provides an indicator to us as to which individuals are committed to follow through with the CNA training, as we can see the amount of time they are willing to invest in completing the activities listed in this format. This format is also an example of using resources within our partnership to benefit the students. More information on how we implement this can be seen on the southwestabe.org website. For individuals who do not attain our cut score of 230 CASAs, we utilize an online reading curriculum, Reading Skills for Healthcare Workers, we have recently created. This curriculum can be also found on our website. It is free and available for any program to use with their learners.
A typical class in our CNA pathway training lasts about 2 months. The class schedule is aligned with the public school day schedule. The college and the ABE instructors deliver integrated instruction and are assigned alternating days. The ABE instructor supports teaching done by the college instructor, in addition to offering a variety of activities that employers have identified as a benefit to their future employees.
Activities facilitated by the ABE instructors identified by our employers are listed here. Each activity is one our employer feels adds value to these future employees. Another example of an activity we will be introducing is bringing into the classroom a person who uses CNA services and/or their family members to speak to their perspective and impact on aspects of their own or loved one's care. This slide showcases the work experience option our Navigator sets up for students as it is appropriate. Students have the ability through this experience to become acclimated to the culture and staff of the facility in which they want to find employment. Again, we would encourage others to find out more about this option through your one-stop job centers.
Sustainability has always been a major concern to career pathway work. A key factor in our success is being able to braid funding from multiple revenue streams through our various agencies. Another avenue we have sought and been successful at is receiving employer contributions. This career pathway training is one we are all invested in. All partners contribute to make the career pathway training happen. All of our agencies work collaboratively to make this program successful.
Under the topic of sustainability, we have worked actively with our elected officials at the legislature. This past year, together, we successfully passed into law the ability for our ABE programs to be reimbursed back for hard costs of tuition, test-out fee, book fee, and plus up to 30% of that total cost for ABE services if an individual we financially supported to attain their CNA is successfully employed at a nursing home for 90 days. Again, there is more information on this new Minnesota law that can be found on our Southwest ABE website.
To wrap up this segment, we thank you for your time and your interest in our career pathway model. Our contact information is provided for any of you interested in learning more information about our model. We encourage you to visit the Southwest ABE website that's provided here, which is full of more details. We hope that you have found at least one idea you may want to pursue in your career pathway training. Please feel free to contact us. We'll turn it back to Michael to wrap up the webinar. Thank you.
Actually, it's David, and thank you very much. These have been terrific presentations representing lots of useful information at all levels. I'd like to say more, but we are running out of time, so I just want to call your attention to three things. One is you will be getting a follow-up survey from Links, and we do hope that you will complete that. The second is, as I've mentioned a couple of times in the chat area, if you'd like to get a copy of the slides, email Mike Cruz or me, and we'll send them right out to you. The recording takes a little more time, probably several weeks. And I think, and Steve Coleman, you could clarify that. I think people who are registered for the webinar will get a notice when that's available as a YouTube video on the Links YouTube channel.
Yeah, actually, the way it works, can I just jump in here, David?
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
The way it works is, since this was open enrollment, we will not be sending anything out announcing the availability of the presentation. But what will happen, it will be on the YouTube channel, so you can check on Links. It usually can take a month or two. So it can take a while. In the meantime, as David said, if you email to either David or Mike, they can send you the PowerPoint presentation. One other thing quickly, I'm going to copy and paste the survey link into the chat box, and we would very much appreciate your taking that survey. It provides valuable feedback. So if you click on that, that will take you to the survey. But you have to click on that to get to the survey.
Oh, I see. So people don't automatically get it because they're not registered. Okay,
yeah.
Got it. So one last thing, very important. Many of the questions that were raised, many of the ideas that you'd like to explore in more detail, you will have an opportunity to do beginning tonight and then for the next 3 days. To do that, you need to be a registered member of Links, which you can do by going to the Links website, which is links.ed.gov. And you can then, once you are registered, you will want to join either or both of these two groups, Career Pathways or Program Management. The discussion will be taking place in both of those groups, so you don't need to join both. You could just join one if you wish. So thank you all. Thank you very much to our presenters today and to many of you who have been very active in the chat area. And please let Mike or me know if you'd like a copy of the slide deck. We'll send that right out to you.
Yeah, thank you very much to the presenters. That is it as far as I'm concerned. Any presenters have anything else they want to add? So again, thank you, participants. You've had some great input and follow up with those discussion groups.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.